Hi there, and greetings from Germany. In the last weeks, German car manufacturer and supplier announced layoffs. For example, Mercedes-Benz wants to lay off 10,000 people till 2022. Also Audi, Continental, Bosch, and Volkswagen announced layoffs. The layoffs will not be conducted immediately but stretched for the next years. As explanation, they often say new challenges, or more specific, the transition to electric cars. The suppliers also give a weakening demand as reason. I again started to wonder why the established car manufacturer, whether German or not, don't offer a bigger range of electric vehicles, or why their offerings often can't match or even beat Tesla's offerings, especially considering that Tesla is a small company compared to the other car manufacturers. Or why the German car manufacturers did not start earlier with the development of electric cars. Perhaps at least some layoffs could have been prevented. As there is no Tesla beating or at last big selling electric car from the Germans in sight, the German layoffs look a bit like they are preparing for tougher times. Today, electric vehicles of the established car manufacturers look like a side project. But why is it like that? I have three thoughts: fear of change, the wrong mindset, and lack of know-how. Let's go into details. Firstly, fear of change. Today, a combustion car is built of thousands of parts, and every part needs to be manufactured by the car manufacturers or its suppliers. To simplify, behind every part is in the end a person who earns its living with developing, manufacturing, and implementing this part in a combustion engine car. So when you remove the combustion engine from the car and put an electric engine in, the parts count suddenly drops dramatically. You don't need, for example, motor blocks, pistons, spark plugs, exhaust systems, or oil pumps. And there are many companies and therefore people that are heavily dependent on fuel-burning cars. Suppliers like Mahle or Schaeffler here in Germany are good examples. So, again simplified, the persons developing, building, installing and maintaining these parts are not needed anymore. Now imagine being a politician in, for example, the US, Japan or Germany, where one of the biggest car manufacturers are based. It is your biggest nightmare if one of a sudden one of their big car companies decides to shift to electric cars only, and that the company will slim down its workforce accordingly. Suddenly, thousands of people have no jobs anymore and won't be needed anymore. It's old tech these people learned. And even if they retrain to EV tech, they are too many. Politicians don't want this job loss, at least not during their term, so they will favor fuel-burning cars. And the job loss does not stop at car manufacturers and its suppliers. The car dealerships are heavily dependent on the maintenance of combustion cars. If they lose this business, they will go out of business because electric cars need no to minimal maintenance. And there's nothing they can do. Even if they stop offering discounts for the cars and offer them for the full listing price, this won't give them much breathing room in the long term. Also imagine being the CEO of one of these car companies, and just because you decide to change to electric cars, you are also the one responsible that people lose their jobs. Remember, most CEOs just work there. They don't own the company. If they can push this step to the future, being the responsibility of the next CEO, they will happily just do nothing, even if they then risk the whole company and not just the combustion part of the company. They are probably also scared of what will happen with the company's market value if they do the drastic step to EVs. All this is to an extent understandable, but it is also not understandable, because it is a decision of losing the whole company because it will be irrelevant, or just losing the combustion part of the company. Both decisions lead to people losing their jobs. It's just the difference of all people losing their jobs or a part of them losing their jobs. It's a sad prospect to see what's coming, but it will come. It has nothing to do with Tesla or any other electric car company. It is just technological advancement. If not Tesla, it could have been another company, and if not electric cars, it could have been hydrogen cars. The days of fuel-burning engines in cars and trucks are numbered. And on top of that, Volkswagen's diesel emissions scandal has accelerated this development. My second thought is they have the wrong mindset. It often seems to me that Tesla and the idea of electric mobility is not even remotely taken serious by other car companies. Some months ago, BMW's Director of Development, Klaus Fröhlich, said in an interview that there are no customer requests for electric vehicles in Europe. Klaus Fröhlich also said that BMW estimates that fuel-burning cars will be here for at least 30 years. On the other hand, the government of Norway, a country that, Klaus Fröhlich perhaps doesn't know that, sits in Europe, decided in 2016 that they plan to ban selling new combustion cars beginning 2025. You need to know that Norway gets its electricity completely from environmentally friendly sources like water and wind. Also, Norway has no car industry, and also electric cars are selling like hotcakes already today in Norway. So Norway just does what seems logical. And China also does what seems logical. They don't care what the established car manufacturers do and offer. China is already strongly fixated on electric vehicles, and the market share of these cars will continue to rise. If established car companies cannot offer what the Chinese market wants, the customers will buy their homegrown EV offerings or Tesla or perhaps Rivian. These are nice examples of not realizing of what's coming, thinking that you are unbeatable, and perhaps also thinking that a brand like Mercedes or BMW can never go under. If a company keeps having this mindset, I see Mercedes or BMW being bought by a Chinese real estate company like Saab. It's like living in a parallel world. No one cares for your history of inventing the car or that you have been building the ultimate driving machine. No one will buy these old tech cars because of compassion. Being a well-known company did not help Nokia, BlackBerry, Kodak, Sears or MySpace. All of these companies did not take a new competitor serious, and now these companies are irrelevant or gone. My third thought, and what is really wondering me, is what seems to be lack of know-how. When the established car manufacturer react, they don't react properly. If you look at a car like the Audi e-tron, the Mercedes EQC or the Jaguar I-Pace, these cars are good cars, but in the sector of electric drivetrains, not on the same level as Tesla. I have done a deeper dive about this topic in another video. You can watch it by clicking on the link on the top right or in the description box below. Even Toyota, a company whose CEO is from the Toyota family and should care, cannot release a proper electric car, even with all the experience from hybrid cars. When I read the specs of the Lexus UX300E, I was completely shocked of what Toyota thinks is a good offer in the segment. The Tesla Model Y will outsell the Lexus UX300E easily. Or take a look at the Volkswagen ID.3. If you spec the ID.3 to have the same range as a Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus, you instantly have almost the same price, at least here in Germany. Typically German, the ID.3 is surely missing some equipment that Tesla has as standard, and the prices will be more or less the same. And if you choose a lower spec ID.3 model, you instantly are in the territory of cars like the Nissan Leaf, Kia Niro and Hyundai Ioniq, so the ID.3 is surrounded by established competition. And then the Lexus and the Volkswagen are smaller, accelerate slower and charge slower than a Model 3. In the end, the customer gets less car for his money. And still no word on how extensive the software updates go or how much features of automated driving both cars offer. And Volkswagen and Lexus do not own a worldwide supercharger network. So why should somebody buy the Volkswagen or Lexus? In the end, both cars need to be sold with good discounts to be considered by buyers. This is no proper long-term strategy. And then there is another aspect. The Germans often say they go the way of reliability with their electric cars. They say you can accelerate from 0 to 60 several times in a row with no overheating. Or they have a large buffer in the battery, so less usable range but more durability of the battery pack. But these arguments have a slight problem. If your car accelerates slower to 60 than a Tesla, then it's not a strong argument for your product that your drivetrain does not overheat. Let it accelerate as fast as a Tesla to 60 and then not overheat. This would be an argument for reliability. Also, Teslas don't have the reliability reputation of Jaguars in the 90s. Teslas are not known for getting the batteries replaced all the time. Teslas have a smaller buffer and in the end more range. Their batteries can do that. So both these German arguments are not convincing. They more or less reveal a gap to Tesla. And on top of that zero enthusiasm EVs, the Germans and other manufacturers found their new niche of plug-in hybrids. Cars which have an electric range of about 30 miles or 50 kilometers and have a combustion engine also integrated. Of course, from a German perspective, this is absolutely genius. You have the new tech and you can still produce your old tech. Wonderful! Everybody is happy except the customer, because now he has less performance than an electric car, more maintenance than an electric car, and in hybrid mode, when the battery is depleted, the cars aren't even as fuel saving as a classic Toyota hybrid. A plug-in hybrid is not a big step for the customer, and it is not a big step for the car manufacturer. In the end, plug-in hybrids are some form of so-called compliance cars, getting good fuel mileage on paper because they drive part of the test on electric power. But products that only look good on paper don't offer a solid business case. The longer the established car manufacturers wait, the harder it hurts. It isn't that this development comes as a surprise. In the end, business is tough, almost like war, and companies like Tesla or Rivian are just waiting for the others to crumble. They know better than anyone else what companies like Toyota, Volkswagen or General Motors need to do to survive, and right now they just don't do it. So that's it from me for today. Please like, share, subscribe and also hit the notification bell as more videos are coming soon.